insights. I want the bets from betting weekly. Because we win, that is our motto. Sometimes we win, sometimes we don't win. Don't give us the bird, don't give us your stink eye. We try our best and we're successful. Come watch our show. Bet with a sponsor. It's time to start. Enjoy the show.
All right, here we go. Betting Weekly Live here with you on a Friday, heading into the weekend, Super Bowl 60 weekend on Betting Weekly Live. Mike Carver along with Doug Kezirian out there in San Francisco getting ready for the game. We have NBA tonight. We got college hoops tonight. And, of course, the Patriots and the Seahawks getting ready on Sunday. Hi, Doug. How are you? You made it through the week. It's Friday, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm out of breath because I've been doing several victory laps around this building after Matthew Stafford wins the MVP. So
Great job.
I had to put my clothes back on after just running around shirtless and celebrating.
Tremendous job, Doug. Listen, you talked about that for weeks. We had a big discussion about it after that Monday night game against Atlanta, where it was absolutely ridiculous how much the odds were shifting off of one bad game. You mentioned everybody. Let's get in for more here. And listen, it was a close vote.
Chair win. Rocking chair.
Who cares how close it was? It was a rocking chair win. And great job on Stafford. We did not get the daily double last night, but hey, guess what? We got 3 already this week, and that's pretty good. So we'll finish it off with a 4 for 5 later on tonight. Let's kick things off, Doug, with the Super Bowl. Of course, obviously, by the time you're out there, so you get it even more than the rest of us. Like, by the time you get to Friday, it's like, all right, let's go play the game. Like, you really get tired of talking about it. I don't think that this one's had as much juice as maybe some recent ones have had. Are you ready to just get the ball in the air here? I mean, we're still 4.5 and 45.5. And as you said, the last 2 days, it's probably not going anywhere off of that.
Yeah. It gets a little exhausting. What's nice is I don't do the 3-hour, 4-hour radio shows that some of these affiliates have to do and then are at the mercy of every sort of promotion, paid celebrity coming in and hawking whatever product. I just walked around, was a guest on a few shows, did some betting stuff, did our shows from here, and just talked to some old colleagues and some new friends and things like that. I didn't have to jump through the hoops and do the circus that is Radio Row. I've never really done it because I've never had to travel, as a radio show, but that has looked painful.
Now, let me ask you this from this aspect, because in that room, there's obviously hundreds of different types of people. You have some people who know betting really well. You have other people, like you said, they're just local radio hosts. And yeah, they like to bet, but they're maybe not as into it as me and you are. What has been the feel that you have gotten being in that room the last 2 days in terms of who everybody is on? Is it as pro a Seahawk crowd as we think it's been over the last 2 weeks? Are you starting to feel a lot of people giving a little Patriot love? What's been the feeling in the room?
So talking to odds makers who aren't here, but I wanted to set it up. It's like one-way traffic with Seattle money, at least, but the most of the action comes in 48 hours before kickoff. So it'll start today. Here, it's a lot of affiliates from said markets. So there's a lot of Boston media, TV, radio. So obviously there's going to be some homers, things like that. There's also some advanced, analytics websites, things like that, or insiders who respect and understand the concept of an underdog and probability and things like that. So it's been pretty balanced in terms of the opinions because it's a lot of Boston media here, and B, people who do live in percentages world and understand that underdogs can win, and it doesn't mean the point spread was wrong, right? Like, it's like in poker, right? The last card, you're like, oh, there's only 3 cards that can beat me. I have a 87% chance to win. And sure enough, one of those 3 cards turns up. And it's not that those math was wrong, even though it was an 87% chance. It just means that that one card came up that was one of the 3 cards that could beat you. Well, that's the same in sports. Like, I was sort of calling out one of our commenters and just saying, the Patriots can win money line. It's like, yeah, I know they can win. The question is the plus whatever, 190 or whatever it is it value based on what you think their chances are? That's all this is. And it's just one game that day. I mean, I don't know, Carver. We got USC tipping off at 9 a.m. body clock game on Sunday. One would think we should be fading them with more money than we do have on the Super Bowl.
I'm not going to disagree with that. That's for sure. Because those are the ones, like you say, you gotta keep your eye on stuff like that. And they are at Penn State, noon East on Sunday. USC and Penn State.
And those Nittany Lions need wins.
Nittany Lions, not a good scene for them last night as they got smashed in Ann Arbor by the Wolverines. Before we get to our favorite props, or the ones that we probably have our eye on, we want to mention one more time before we get out of here for the weekend. Let's just do this one more time. I think Seattle's going to win. I'm going to lay the 4.5 with Seattle. I've been back and forth on the total, but I don't think I'm going to go near it. I think I'm just going to lay the 4.5 with the Seahawks. Though.
So I lean Seahawks. I'm not grabbing the 4.5 like a lot of respected, better friends of mine. I value their opinion. They're usually dog players. I think both things can be right. Okay, this is sort of like my strengths over the years. Is I'm very, you grow up in a household of youngest of 5 brothers, and you eat at the dinner table. If you say something stupid, you get attacked. So we're very good at poking holes in certain things. I just think there's a leap of faith when people are playing contrarian and devil's advocate, which is smart when everyone's ripping the Patriots. Are they the worst team to be in the Super Bowl? Blah, blah, blah. They barely scored. Their offense was terrible. They got lucky to be here. I understand the pushback on that, and I agree with it. I think it's extreme to say the Patriots are the worst team to be in the Super Bowl and that they beat 3 top 5 defenses, all that good stuff. I agree with it, but that doesn't mean you should be betting on them plus 4.5, right? There's a leap. There's a next step. You have to go beyond that. And I'm unwilling to take that step. I don't think there's line value. If this were like 15 years ago when the NFL market would react and that they'd have this line 7.5 in the old days when it was easier to make money betting the NFL, but there's just too much sharp money in the market. There's too many modelers that are betting the dog at 4.5 or 5. So you don't need to put the line at 7.5, right? So I just think, yes, the Patriots are a lot better than some of the naysayers and critics are saying, but that doesn't mean you take 4.5. I think it's a stay away for me because of that, rather than most people that just kind of go off what they last saw. It's minus 4.5. But if I had to pick it, I would lay it. I think the Seahawks are the best team in football. I have felt that for a couple months. I think that the pseudo Super Bowl was the NFC Championship game. I don't think the Patriots offense can do what the Rams offense did and move up and down on them. I think they're going to have trouble. I just really respect the coaching staff in New England. And I think there is a chip on their shoulder. I think some of the guys like Spillane, mad at the world that Brady didn't root for them and things like that. I think it's all sort of, they're a very connected team and they're very tight and they're kind of going to be ready for this. I just think Seattle has too much talent and I'm curious to see what the game plans are. I also don't like it when coaches are interviewing and have one foot out the door with Kubiak, things like that. I just don't like that in general, any round in the playoffs. So it's a stay away for me, but I'm definitely going to be betting a lot of props.
That Brady story is the ultimate. This is a really boring week, and we need to find something to talk about. Story that the Tom Brady isn't picking the Patriots.
I get why Bruce. Think about these are like it wasn't just like a one-time Patriots, like defensive captain and things like that. How can you not root for him? And Brady's not doing it for professionalism. It's because he's about to hire the assistant coach on the other team.
Bingo. That's exactly what it is. Why is he going to go? He's hiring Kubiak to the team that he owns. Of course he's not going to sit there.
He should still. I don't think Kubiak would be offended if he's like,
no,
I'll always root for a Patriot. It's my former teammate.
No.
Like he doesn't have a bond with Kubiak yet. So I think it's still pretty soft of him not to say, I'll always root for the Patriots, especially a former teammate.
Let's do some of our props here. I love your first one that you got on the list. I told you earlier in the week I hit this last year thanks to Kenny Pickett coming in the game for the Eagles late. And that is, can we get anyone else besides the 2 starting quarterbacks to throw and or complete a pass in this game?
I like it a lot. I think it's an outrageous number when you talk about McDaniels and the Patriot way. I mean, look, Vrabel and McDaniels came from like the ingenuity of the Patriots. How many half-pack passes, throw across the fields, all that nonsense have we seen over the years in this, Patriot way? I just think they're going to want to keep the Seattle team off balance. For all we know, the Seahawks can do it as well. So I like attempt at plus 150. I like complete a pass as well. I mean, I know that the market should be higher because obviously but I think if they're going to call this play, they see something on tape, it's going to be a high success rate. I just think, look, I'm all about taking shots and having fun props and throwing bombs, and there'll be plenty of my portfolio that has those. But I think this is like a good, smart play. I think this is like one of my better plays.
We had a discussion earlier in the week about the Travion Henderson usage and how down it is in the playoffs. He's awful at pass protection. I told you I kind of like him for longest rush in the game. If McDaniels could scheme something up for him to maybe get a nice big chunk play. You've got Henderson on the card here.
Yeah, I do. And look, I just think so. There's been a lot of sharp money on his unders, and I just think these are people who don't watch football, I guess. Some of these math guys, because I completely disagree. I haven't heard every show or read every article, but my understanding is that they're basing it on pass usage, and his usage is declining. And his pass blocking has been troublesome. And he was good at Ohio State with it, but he just didn't. Hasn't translated because it's a complex system, and he sometimes misses or has the wrong reads or whatever. I just think they're going to have to use him because he's such a home run hitter. And on top of that, his usage was down in the AFC Championship game because what's his style? He kind of just it's almost like Le'Veon Bell type, right? Where he's patient, pitter patters his feet a little bit and then looks to break it. Well, that's not good in the snow, right? The blizzard where you just got to get going in the snow and get the yards you can. And so he just wasn't very conducive to what the weather conditions were like. I think it's a much more valuable chess piece in this matchup, and it's such a low number. I mean, frankly, he can get it on one play. So I really like the over 17.5 here.
I do too. I mean, for it to get cut in half from the title game where it was 35.5, right around in that area, it doesn't make a lot of sense. That's for sure. So I'm with you on some of this Henderson stuff. Right. I like touchdowns. I gave us touchdowns every Friday here throughout the regular season. I have landed on Hunter Henry on the Patriots side and Cooper Kupp on the Seattle side in terms of anytime touchdowns. Those are the two that I am going to. 255 for Kupp, 215, I believe, Bet Rivers right now for Hunter Henry. I think that the Christian Gonzalez on JSN stuff is real, Doug. I do. I'm not saying he's going to have a 0 game, but I think that there's going to be some opportunity for Kupp, even if it's something short, they're inside the 10, whatever. I think Kupp's going to get an opportunity here.
So I would need more than plus 255 for Kupp because I only think there could be 2 or 3 scores for Seattle.
Okay.
So, but it's going to be tough to run on them. So I like the receiver angle.
Yeah,
I do.
That's the angle.
So my understanding, and I'm going to butcher this, so take this with a grain of salt, but I'm going to relay a conversation, and by no means do I want to take credit for this. So I had heard a very sharp guy break it down, and my understanding is that JSN always plays in the far out wide out.
Right.
And that's where Gonzalez guards. They can move him to the slot. He played for 2 years in the slot, just not a ton this year. So with 2 weeks of practice, they may move him in the slot. Gonzalez won't be on him. It would be another guy who gets beat like a rented mule. So there is a path to have a monster game in that regard if they do some things. I agree with you that it's not going to be a monster game for JSN if he's going to be guarded by Gonzalez the whole time, because Gonzalez is really good at just everything.
So this is just me. Wouldn't Vrabel and the Pats, have him follow him a little bit, even if it is in the slot? Wouldn't you want him following him around and maybe they adjust some things too and they get to keep Gonzalez on him? Maybe.
I think the sport of football is very elaborate in that regard. So my understanding is that the entire, all the other players would have trouble figuring out their assignments on the plays.
Who are you putting on the outside?
That's why this stuff is so complex, right? I was just talking to a guy, breaking it down for me. So Brady, whenever there was a three-man rush, he never went to his first outlet or first option because he knew he would have time to throw and there'd always be guys open later on. So he went to a second, third. Just stuff like this is just so complex. Now, obviously, it's most complex for the quarterback versus other positions. But Richard Sherman a couple of weeks ago, I think he was answering Twitter questions, but it resonated with me. They're like, what's one thing that you wish people understood and something like that? It's when there's a completion to a receiver, it doesn't mean it was bad coverage. Like sometimes that corner's just doing coverage that play call on defense demanded, and that they found the one or two openings on that play. And it's so much of it is assignment football. I mean, Belichick famously was like, do your job, things like that. It's very militaristic, right? It's creativity and think outside the box at times, but then other times it's do your job. And so I think some of this is very elaborate. So the roundabout way of saying, I don't think it's as simple as, Gonzalez just go guard JSN wherever he is on the field.
The gentleman sweep tonight. There you go, MT. I saw that. I love the gentleman sweep. When you win in 5 games, that's what we'll do tonight when we hit the daily double. The gentleman sweep this evening for us. This is a good one. This one for you, Doug. What?
Funny. That is so clever.
This is from Indy here. What line would you need to bet the Seahawks? You're being asked, Doug. What line would you need?
Probably 3.
Okay. Probably 3 for Doug. There you go, Mindy.
I may get there by Sunday, but I don't think I will. Just a guy. How about this? Let me put this. I have a buddy who's actually got in town the other day with his dad. He's a Seahawks fan. He's a very sharp bettor. He told me last May, he goes, hammer the Seahawks win total over and bet their futures. And I didn't know him that well then. So I was like, what the heck? Sure enough, he's been riding the Seahawks. And so a couple of times where I've hammered the Seahawks on this show, he's lined up. He's like 13-1 on Seattle games, like giving picks. And he's sharp. He's a bettor. I mean, he's not just like a fan. So he likes him to route 35-10.
Okay. Wow. How about that? Let me give you a couple bombs, first and last touchdowns. We've had fun with these all year. For the Patriots, I've landed on Demario Douglas. It's 29-1 first, 25-1 last. Okay. I don't mind Kyle Williams either at 40-40. These are deep bombs, of course. These are like the funsies, Doug. And for the Seahawks, it's got to be Bobo, right? 50-1, both first and last. Little Bobo, I hear. Had one in the playoffs. Funny.
This Bobo is gambling in a nutshell.
55.
Everyone had FOMO on his catch in a touchdown. And so now everyone's chasing last game's touchdown. It's just so funny.
Bobo.
I literally think it's like, I mean, just to get super, into the weeds, but like, it's like men not processing emotion, right? That's like the big rap on us as a species. Like, it's just like, we can't just like accept that, like, we missed a great payout. And like, do we really think it's going to be, is there something new that they have found? And he's like, if that's the case, fine. But you just can't go throw money after like something that happened in the past.
No, you can't. It's just, I think when you look at it, and I haven't been chasing Bobo, thankfully. These other guys in the bomb category for Seattle, I mean, they never get any burn, these guys. I mean, Callerup, Akers, he's only been active once. Arroyo, these guys, at least the Patriot guys, Doug, like, I feel like if the Patriots the better side for the bomb because, Kyle Williams has caught touchdowns. Hooper, Douglas, like these guys have actually gotten some touchdowns this year. So I feel like the Patriot guys, if you want to play the bombs, might be the better way to go.
Okay. That's fair.
I like the Pat guys.
I get what you're saying.
I'll tell you that. I like the Pat guys.
I mean, look, he's a big guy, and it's a good outlet in the red zone. And Darnold's, I have confidence in him hitting the, so to speak. But we have breaking news.
Uh-oh.
The head official for the Super Bowl has been announced.
Who do we got?
Sean Smith.
Okay.
Seahawks under Smith. I don't know if it's this season or overall. 0-5 ATS.
Wow. How about that?
I don't know what the Patriots, how they are.
Do you ever put much stock into these ref things? Do you think that it's worth looking at? Yes. Especially when it's that big.
With basketball, when I do, it's, with that whole Chris Paul, Scott Foster stuff, things like that. 0-5 ATS. I think they've only not covered 5 games this year. So I'd have to go. I replied to the Twitter account to ask him if it's this year or overall. I'm not going to put a lot of stock on this one.
Yeah, it's hard. I
But
like how
there are other data sets where they talk about holding call, like certain crews that call out a hold, things like that. Yes, definitely. But I do think there has to be a filter to it for the Super Bowl. I don't think we're going to have I'm going to go on a limb and say we're not going to have a flag fest on Sunday. I think the refs eat it a little bit, like they don't call holding, things like that. I just think the refs are going to want to stay out of the way a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I saw you ask him here. I'm trying to see if he's answered anybody else yet to see if we get that. 49er here. Welcome to my city, Doug. There you go, Doug. You get some welcomes there. And my final ones, Steve likes a defensive touchdown. Okay, that's very possible, I guess you could say, with the Seahawks. Both defenses have been very good. My other two, speaking of defense, I love Seattle over 3.5 total sacks, plus 130. Patriots have given, I think I brought this up to you early in the week. Patriots have given up 5, 5, and 5 in the playoffs so far, all 3 rounds. I don't see that changing with how that offensive line is. And the other one for me is Kayshon Boutte, longest catch over 17.5. I think it's a little light. Most of his catches are in the longer variety. We've talked about how now look, if Gonzalez, if JSN isn't, there's other things that could happen here, but I like Boutte over 17.5, Doug, for it.
So I talked to a guy who actually kind of thinks the opposite. I like Boutte too because he had the great catch and he has hands, but his separation on deep balls not really that great. Okay. And even though Drake May is excellent at him, it requires great throws. And there's just so many options for Drake May. He can spread the ball around. I know that's why. What is it? 13.5, or what's the number of total people to make a cat reception?
Ooh,
over. That got hit. So I just think there's a lot of options there. But I'm not in a rush to bet under.
Okay. And are you with me on the sacks? Can I get you on the sacks over 3.5
sure.
for Seattle? Yes.
Yeah, I do think they're gonna
that's a fun.
I think they're gonna get to them. I think
plus 130. Big over.
Yeah, have some fun. Let's meet at the quarterback.
Take his head off. Let's go. There you go. Super Bowl 60. We're ready. Here, Betting Weekly Live. We've had a big week. If you want, go back, check out all the episodes all week. We've done Super Bowl at the beginning of the show in every single episode. Go back to Wednesdays. You can get all Macero's plays as well when he was with us. So we've had a fun week here talking about the Seahawks and the Patriots. And it is February. So don't forget, Bet Rivers has a February fun bet for you. Tennis, soccer, basketball, whatever sport you're following right now, bet on it with a February fun bet. Betting Weekly and Bet Rivers have teamed up to give you a $10 bonus bet at Bet Rivers when you enter the bonus code BW201. That code again, BW201. Offer expires on February 15th. Must be 21. Eligible players only. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. February fun bet. All right, let's roll here, Doug. We have got college basketball this evening, and we have a good one to start the weekend in the Big East. Number 3 UConn visiting the Garden in New York City against St. John's. Of course, UConn 22-1 this year. St. John's 17-5. The Huskies minus 1.5 on the road, I guess you could say, although there's always a large Husky contingent at Madison Square Garden. Totals 143.5.
That's what I was going to say. Are we sure it's on the road? Because UConn's played here quite a bit. I think the crowd could be a nice little mix there. I think these are the 2 best coaches in college basketball. Now, maybe Pitino's past his prime, but I still think he's excellent, and I love Danny Hurley. And let's not forget, after back-to-back championships, while ripping through the tournament at a 12-0 ATS run, last year they had Florida on the ropes. They had that game. So this is a very good coach in very big games. I think it's going to be a really strong game. And St. John's will put a lot of pressure on UConn, and they're turnover prone. And the Huskies could get into the bonus because they foul a lot, or put St. John's in the bonus. With that being said, St. John's doesn't have a point guard. Beating their pressure. I just want to go to war with Danny Hurley. But it's not a banger, even though I know sharps that I know are on UConn, but there's been some buyback on the dog. So I think it's going to be a little 2-way action for both the public and the sharp money. I think it's going to be a great game.
I love UConn tonight. And the sad thing is, Doug, I can't play it because it's in New York. But I love UConn tonight.
Take a little drive. Take a little drive.
You know what? Might have to. It's. I could use it after today here around the house. Maybe I'll just pop in the car before they tip off and get across the Throgs Neck, get across Bronx, and get into Connecticut before things can happen for me there. UConn and St. John's, good one this evening. All right, a few other games. It's actually a pretty light Friday night schedule, but we do have some A10 and some Valley games. Dayton at VCU tonight. VCU minus 7.5, 148.5.
I think you have to lay it. The problem is VCU is not exactly a covering machine. They've won they won a bunch in a row, but haven't covered 3 straight. So that's a little concerning, but this is a bet against Dayton as much as anything. This team's long. Their best days are behind them. This team's been struggling. They have failed to cover 5 straight. Now, they were a favorite in some of those, most of them, but I just don't think much of this Dayton squad. It's been a tough run for Anthony Grant lately. I'd have to lay it. I think VCU just kind of pulls away and takes care of business.
I don't have a problem with that. Dayton really, they were bad. I forget who it was last week, but that was St. Louis that pounded Dayton that night, Doug. I think it was.
By 30 something
in that game. I'm going to go to the Valley tonight for a couple. Little Missouri Valley. Bradley visiting Northern Iowa tonight. Bradley's having a hell of a year in the Valley. I mean, they're like 9-4 in conference play so far. They're having a good, but yet they're getting 3.5 at Northern Iowa tonight, who's kind of around 500 in the league so far. Haven't done anything special. You know what that means, Doug? Give me the Panthers tonight. Northern Iowa minus 3.5 against Bradley at home. Let's go.
I like it. I have been to the Northern Iowa campus. I've been to the Unidome as well for back in my first TV job in the Iowa days. I will not have action on this game.
Okay. And then I also have in the Valley Belmont visiting UIC, Illinois, Chicago tonight. Belmont is by far the best team in the Valley so far. They are 11-2 in conference play. UIC, actually not that bad either. They've been 8-5. They're 2.5-point home dogs tonight, Illinois, Chicago. But man, Belmont is, they're 21-3. They're building a nice season here. Trying to get a really decent seed in the NCAA tournament. Is it Belmont tonight here as the short road favorite, or are we walking into a trap, Doug?
See, I kind of lean to the dog here. Now, I was on UIC the other day, and one of their best players got ejected early in the game, and that was no fun, and they did not cover by a point. So that was painful. They lost by 7. I would say I think they're that showed me something at least. So I lean dog here, but I'd want more points.
That is why I wanted to ask you about that one. And hey, Henry brings it up. Yale, 2 tutties and a hook against Brown tonight. Could be a mismatch. Henry says could be a mismatch. Yale and Brown.
Oh, it's gonna be. There's some frustration that the Bulldogs are gonna take out on my Bears. Yale, and I lost an uncomfortable amount of money on a second half wager last week, because I had Yale to win the game, down like double digits at halftime. No, down 8 or so at home to Harvard. Right away, they came to within 1. Then Harvard went on an 8-0 run. And then they came back. They took the lead. 10 seconds to go. With 8 seconds, Harvard down 1, shoots a 3, sort of rushed, top of the arc, banks home a 3 with 4 seconds to go. Pretty painful. Wow. They had no business. So Yale's been off since Saturday. This is going to be payback. This number's come up a little bit. I think this has beat down written all over it. I'd look at Yale first half, Yale game. Brown should not hang around.
Tee it high and let it fly. Lean Yale and VCU. Daryl is getting involved here in the chat box.
Daryl, we're simpatico on those.
All right. Saturday, some great games. Big Saturday slate. Why don't we start? We have a top 10 matchup in East Lansing at night with Illinois and Michigan State. Michigan State minus 1.5 Sparty, 143.5 the total.
All right. This is a really interesting game because the spot screams Sparty. And if you're into like This is where you got to be careful, just betting what you not betting what you last saw, things like that. Sparty's off back-to-back losses. Okay, this is at the Breslin Center. Izzo's threatening to bench or suspend one of his guys who's channeling his inner Draymond and kicking guys in the jewels, and just things aren't hunky-dory right now in East Lansing. But this is when you typically want to bet on a team. I'd much rather they'd be playing Oregon and be laying 16 here. Illinois is playing really well. And we've talked about peaks and valleys of a season. And Michigan certainly had their lull where they didn't cover 7 straight. I think Michigan's on the I think Illinois could be on the come as well. So I just think they've put it all together. I think Illinois is a championship contender, actually. I don't think that of Sparty. This could be a kitchen sink game, but I don't know if Michigan State's good enough for 40 minutes to take care of this and cover the 1.5. I have to pass, but the spot screams Sparty. I just think the talent screams Illinois.
Should be a good one. I'm sitting it out, Doug. I'm going to watch it, but I'm sitting it out for right now because it's a coin flip for me. Illinois has been unbelievable recently. I don't really want to get in front of them. A tradition unlike any other, Duke and North Carolina for the first time this season. They will meet at UNC tomorrow night, 6:30 East is the tip. -5.5 for Duke, of course, number 4 in the country. 151.5 is the total.
Yeah, I made this a little higher. I made it 7.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think much of this North Carolina defense. I think Duke can name their score. So I like the over a little bit, but I like Duke a lot. I know it's a rivalry game, and I know UNC's looked pretty solid the last month or so. I'm going to throw out like the comeback with Syracuse on Monday or whatever it was. I mean, the reserves were in. I just think Duke is going to have minimal resistance scoring. And I think ultimately that's too much to overcome for Carolina that might have the lead midway through the first half and things like that. I just think UNC doesn't have what it takes to slow down this Duke. I mean, Duke could get 100 in this game if they really wanted to. But I'm expecting like 84-70 kind of thing. I think it's going to be one of those. And I don't think Caleb Wilson's that amazing. I think there's a drop off the top guys. Like I think he'll go 4th in the draft or whatever it is, but I don't think he's Devansa. I don't think he's Peterson, and I just think Duke's the better squad here, and I think they've been looking to just kind of face an opponent that's worthy of their maximum effort, and I think this is it.
That's kind of what I was going to say, Doug. I think that this is the last game where you're getting under the radar Duke number. I think that this is the last game you're getting it because we know that the Duke North Carolina game is always a big deal. It's always well watched. Duke's been flying under the radar. When they smash North Carolina tomorrow night, and I like your score, I think it might even be more than that. They're going to drop the hammer on them, and then they're not going to be under the radar anymore. They're going to be back flying amongst the clouds with everybody else. I think they're going to smash them, Doug.
They're 21-1.
Yeah.
Their lone loss is at Texas Tech by 1 point.
And no one talks about them.
They've beaten Arkansas, Michigan State, Louisville dominated, but they weren't full strength. They did beat Florida, but that wasn't Florida like they are now. Kansas, I'm not sure if Peterson played. I don't think he did. But either way, this team has answered every call. And like you said, they've been under the radar, which is just crazy to think a Duke team that's 21-1's under the radar, but they are.
Yep. Let's go. Let's get it. Late night game in Provo. BYU has really been hit hard with the tough part of the Big 12 schedule recently. They've lost 4 of their last 5, 3 in a row. And they are catching 2.5 at home against the Cougars. This is just after 10:30 East on a little late night bailout blowout game. 49.5 the total.
Yeah, I mean, look, conventional wisdom would say the Cougars are going to respond here. Just lost 3 straight, but I don't know, man. Like the first half, they were terrible in their last game. They're down 15 every time in the first half. Yeah. I'm taking Houston first half. Like I'm just so sick of waiting for this team to come around and not having their act together, and it's just annoying. So I'll take the Cougs here.
Take the Cougs. First half, late night in that one. Florida at Texas A&M. here. Florida, minus 4.5, the road favorite, 163.5, the total.
Yeah, I'll tell you a team that's flying under the radar is Texas A&M. They're in first place, tied 7-2 with the Gators. And they just took Alabama down to the wire. Remember, we had it on the show the other day. We discussed. I just thought it was too many points. They were catching like 7.5 in Tuscaloosa and lost by 3. I just think this A&M team's pretty solid. Their only 2 losses in conference play are at Bama and at Tennessee. That says a lot. I'll roll with the A&M as a home dog here.
Sunday, you get the Michigan-Ohio State game. That is before the Super Bowl, 1 o'clock East. Michigan minus 9.5, the projected line, 160.5, the total.
I talked about peak and valleys. I think you have to make this double digit. I think this has to be like 11. It's just, I like Ohio State. I was on them yesterday. Thanks to Maryland for rolling over again. I just think Michigan's playing too well right now. I think we kind of missed our opportunity to fade them hard. I'm just not in a rush to kind of bet against this Michigan team. If they don't cover, I won't be shocked. But I just think they kind of have that bounce in their step after the game, after the win at the Breslin Center. I think they kind of have a bounce in their step right now.
A couple of other ones real fast. Nebraska for you at Rutgers. This is a noon East tip as well. Nebraska laying 11.5 on the road.
Yeah, I'm going to lay it. I don't think much of Rutgers, and the RAC used to be a difficult place to play. I don't think it really is, but I've really appreciated this Husker squad. I thought they were great in the 2 losses that they had at Michigan to answer all those pushes on the road and to do it shorthanded. I was really impressed. And then even the next game, like they're just stamina and their legs went out. They couldn't shoot anything in the second half, but they were great against Illinois. And they were just getting healthy. I think this Nebraska team is going to make a run, man. I think they're for real. So you get Nebraska off 2 losses, almost a full week. Now they got Purdue on deck, but they're off 2 losses. So I don't think they're going to look past Rutgers. And what I know I'm not going in chronological order, but the other sort of factor for me is that game before Michigan, where they had every reason to kind of like just give in to Minnesota on the road. We came back and smoked them by about 25 in the second half. I was impressed. I think the Huskers are well coached. And I mean, look, they got an NBA coach, right, on their staff, and then they got the good players and can shoot the heck out of the ball. I think they cover this.
And the other one you had was Oregon at Purdue, which is a 1 o'clock East on CBS, 19.5 for the Boilers.
Yeah, a little body clock game. We talked about USC on Sunday. How about 10 a.m. for the Ducks? Hey, Carver, Oregon has lost 1 million in a row.
Yeah, they stink.
They're 1-7 ATS in their last 8. Guess which game I bet against them big?
Was this when Purdue was out there? Was that when Purdue
the one win when they hosted Michigan and were actually leading at half?
That's right.
I laid it with Michigan on the road.
That's right.
I did get some back second half, but still.
That's right.
I think this Oregon team is just lifeless. They're missing their 2 top scorers. Purdue did take out some frustration in their last game, winning by 30 after 3 straight losses, but I still think they pummel Oregon first half. They did pull their starters in the last game. That's what has me isolating the first half. I just think Oregon is so outmatched. I'm a little uneasy just because Purdue's played with their food a little bit in the first half sometimes this year, but all in all, it's a play. It's not a banger, but it's a play.
I'll give you 2 that caught my eye real fast for Saturday, and Darryl likes Texas A&M there as well in that game. Miami of Ohio is at Marshall tomorrow in the MAC Sun Belt Challenge.
Oh, boy.
And not one of the games I was about to bring up. Just let you know, okay. I'm not doing it. Not going near Miami of Ohio against Marshall. They are 23-0, and I am not getting in the way of them at this point. But I'll tell you who I am going to go after tomorrow, Doug. Look, Arizona does have some games where they've hammered some teams, but they have had some trouble covering some of these big numbers. Now, yes, they've hammered the Utahs and the West Virginias and the Cincinnatis. I don't think Oklahoma State should be in that crowd. 21.5? And I know they're coming off a big win at home against BYU. I watched the whole second half of that game. This is a pretty decent Oklahoma State team, and I think this number is a little disrespectful. I know Arizona's great. They're undefeated. They're number 1. They're on all that. But 21.5, 20-plus points is 20.5 now. That's a little too much for me, Doug.
I talked about the Pokes the other day. I had them, right? Plus the points. I like them. I think they are playing a lot better basketball. So I can certainly get behind that. Arizona's dangerous, but
Yes.
these teams that are undefeated, they do hit a wall at some point and they don't care as much. And frankly, their coach almost wants them to lose. And, they're at the Fog next.
Well, they
They got
start
the
that big
Fog on.
stretch. Yeah.
They got the Fog on deck. So I think that if there's ever a fade spot for Arizona, this is the game.
Yeah, they're going Kansas, Texas Tech, BYU, Houston the next 4 games after this. Like that is they're hitting
it's a great
the
call by you.
So let's get it. And the other one is, and I know that our friends in the chat box will laugh because they know I'm going to do it. The unranked team, favored at home against the ranked team. That would be Kentucky against Tennessee tomorrow night. I will be on the Wildcats against the Vols. A very, very short home favorite. I think it's 1.5 right now for Kentucky. But Doug, you know that's a sweet spot for me, and I'm going to continue to play it.
Yeah, and I don't think much of this Tennessee team. I know Amen is their tall, lanky freshman. He's coming around playing really much better. But I would have to side with Kentucky here.
Let's go. Always like when me and Doug are on the same page, reading the same mail, heading into the weekend here for us. All right, Betting Weekly live, of course, on a Friday. Betting Weekly Studios, part of the Bet Rivers Network. Let's now get to the NBA. Little light for a Friday, right, Doug? Only 6 games tonight in the NBA? I mean, come on. Don't you know the NHL just shut down? We need some more games. But either way, Prime has the doubleheader tonight, and they have a good one to start things off. And that is the Pistons, who have been first in the East pretty much all season against the Knicks, who are right behind them. Of course, playoffs last year, Knicks knocked them out. Pistons -4, 220 flat the total.
I told everyone I liked the Wizards last night, first quarter. I didn't think they'd win by double digits outright. Jeez. I thought the Pistons would fall victim to a look-ahead spot.
Yeah, they looked
and
ahead.
Sure enough, they did. Boy, did they. They still looking ahead. I like Detroit first quarter. I think they're going to get up for this. Now, the one caveat I have to this is the Knicks bench is looking more and more depleted with Deuce McBride out. So maybe it should be a first half. But I like this Pistons squad. I like the Knicks a lot. They've won 7 or 8 straight. I mean, they're on a roll here. Small play, Pistons first quarter, little line value. I think coming off the bad performance, I think that's the hook.
Yeah, how about our Hornets last night too, getting the win in Houston against Toronto, and then a smash job by the Hornets.
You have a problem.
Houston's got a big problem right now. All right, the second game on Prime, late night, just after 10 o'clock East. The Clippers are in Sacramento against the Kings. Clippers -4.5, 221.5.
Yeah, this number's come up from 3.5. I have a feeling I'm going to regret tonight not smashing the Clip joint. Okay, you got a Clippers squad that's come off back-to-back losses, a little sort of turmoil with Harden, and now Zubac getting traded. Now Brook Lopez had to play a game as the starter, and I just think it's a really good opportunity to back a good team, I'll say, right? They're a good team. Off back-to-back blowout losses, all things considered. And then they're catching Sacramento, who's not very good, and Sabonis is questionable. I think it's a really good spot. I think the Clippers manhandle them, at least in the first half too. I'd look there as well. I think it could be a good situation in that regard.
Yeah, Sabonis questionable for the Kings. I think Javier Sabonis is questionable in that game. So we shall see. Clippers and Kings, the late night game on Prime. All right, a few others this evening. Boston. They are tonight. They are home for the Heat. So Celtics -6.5 at home, 226.5 the total.
Okay, couple things. Boston full strength. Heat no Tyler Hero. We've discussed this. When that's the case, the ball pops for Boston or Miami. This is a first quarter and a first half over. Heat, one of the highest scoring teams in the first quarter, particularly without Tyler Hero. This is where they shine and things like that. So I think this number 116.5. I mean, look, we're going to be vulnerable to the variance of Boston's 3-point shooting, but I like first quarter and first half over the total.
There you go. First quarter, first half tonight with the Heat and the Celtics in Boston. Let's see. Let's go Indiana and Milwaukee. Let's go there next as the Pacers are 1.5-point favorites at the Fiserv against the Bucks tonight. 223 flat the total.
The spread stinks to high heaven, doesn't it?
It sure does. It's just what How many games have the Pacers been favored in this year, Doug? How
I
many games have the
mean,
Pacers
on
been
the road,
favored?
it's got to be the first time. They're 13-38. And the Bucks are off back-to-back wins, so it's a classic flat spot. But gosh, I don't know. I'm looking at props. Kuzma is out, which I'm shocked I care enough to mention it, but he's been one of their biggest scorers now, obviously with the Giannis situation. Rollins, the point guard, is very talented. I think he'll eat. I like over 21.5 points. I think he's going to have a big game. He's been had some nagging injuries here and there the last couple of weeks, but when he's rolling, he's rolling. So pun intended. So I'll go over 21.5 points.
Ryan Rollins, 21.5 tonight for the Bucks this evening, as they have, you talk about a depleted roster. I mean, the Bucks are just, look at what they're, maybe that is the line is right tonight in that game. How about the Grizz? Late night in Portland. Portland minus, I got this at 9 now at Bet Rivers, up from 8.5, 234.5 the total.
Carver, should we pour one out here with the drink for Ty Jerome? Not in the game.
Oh, he's out
Ty
tonight?
Jerome not playing tonight. I know. It's the free bingo square, right?
He's got a calf injury.
We could just I know he's he of the two best bet wins this week. Ty Jerome is not playing tonight. So we're going to go to old reliable Cam Spencer. Over 13.5 points. I think this is a banger. Now, it's been a long road trip, and Memphis has done well. They won in Sacto. They won the previous game, beat Minnesota, I want to say. I think it's just a little low. I think I would have made it 15.5, 16.5. And got to be honest, his over-under for assists is 7.5. So double. Give me plus.
Ooh.
It's 950.
Look out.
Whoa. I thought it was 500.
No, going up. Up. You better prices now. Look at this.
Is he not starting?
That's
possible. Is Ty Jerome in? No, Ty Jerome's not in.
No, Ty Jerome's out. That's
a banger.
Cam Spencer double right now at Bet Rivers plus 9.
I mean, I was going to bet plus 500. So,
well, if you like it at 5, then you love it at 950. That's just.
I was going to say that's a pretty good bet.
What else do we have tonight? I think the only one I missed is the Pelicans in Minnesota against the Timberwolves, minus 8.5, 237.
I mean, I think they're going to bounce back because they played down to their opponent like they so often do. But I just don't trust them to not play down to another opponent again. Like, that's just who they are. I ran into a close friend of mine he probably bets $10 a game. He's in the media. And he's not an on-air guy. He's like, he was from Minnesota. He's like, my T-Wolves, how'd they lose? Like, whenever I bet on, and I'm laughing. I'm like, dude, you can't bet on that team to step measure. You want to bet on them against like catching 8 against the Thunder. Like, that's where you want to bet on that team.
Yeah.
So I just think they're so unreliable as like big favorites, so to speak.
I know that I won't be playing the Timberwolves tonight, not against a team like the Pelicans. That is a recipe for them to take a nap.
And that's what they do.
Pelicans in town tonight. So it would be Pelicans or pass for me, quite honestly, in this game. Cannot trust the Timberwolves against anybody who's not that good because they never show up. 6 games tonight in the NBA. Not a bad weekend either, Doug, quickly. I know that we have a bunch of other games on Saturday night. I think who's got the Saturday? Oh, yeah, ABC's Rockets, Thunder, and Warriors, Lakers tomorrow, too. So you got a nice double header.
Yeah, SGA's out, obviously. That's up. And the Rockets, you have to think they're going to come to play in this game. But are they good enough? Have they hit a wall? I mean, really disappointing performances the last 2 nights. Losing to the Celtics and that, skeleton crew, and then losing yesterday, blown out by the Hornets. I hate this Rockets team. I've talked about them ad nauseum on how much I hate them. So I am not betting on them, but the spot does favor Houston.
And there are 4 games Sunday afternoon before the Super Bowl including Knicks, Celtics, and Clippers, Timberwolves leading into the game there on NBC. So you do have a lot of NBA
Yeah, I mean, it's
hoops.
tough. Obviously, we're going to see the Knicks and Celtics tonight. So obviously, I reserve the right to change my mind based on how tonight goes. I like the Knicks. I think they can light it up. I think I like the over first half, one of those kind of situations. I think these teams want to chuck and duck.
There you go. NBA weekend preview for us. Betting Weekly Live, of course. Betting Weekly Studio is part of the Bet Rivers Network. If you like what you see on our show, as you should, make sure you subscribe to the Betting Weekly Studios channel on YouTube. You can check us out and all of our other shows, including released earlier today. Betting Weekly Extra Time. Dan Roebuck, Steve Wiss, and James Eastham as they preview Week 23 across European soccer, plus a recap of the transfer window, which is finally closed. So make sure Betting Weekly Extra Time. Dan, Steve, and James have got you right there on the Betting Weekly Studios channel. All right, Doug. NHL's over. Bad news. It's over. We got no more hockey. NHL hockey. We're gonna have hockey next week, Doug. Just not NHL hockey for us. Look at Daryl's on the Trailblazers in the first half. Charlotte's odds to make playoffs. A couple of NBA things trickling in here on the chat box before we get out of here with us. I will give you Monday, Doug. I'm gonna this weekend look at all these. They've put up some good props at Bet Rivers in terms of some long shots. Maybe we could get some good guys for most goals in the men's Olympic tournament, most points in the tournament. So I'm going to try to find one or two, maybe nice little deep shots we can take going into the tournament.
Any figure skating futures or anything?
I haven't put the figure skating futures in. I will tell you, I watched a couple guys in the trials for the Luge this morning. I did get involved a little bit. I'm excited. You know, these guys are maniacs. You know, the downhills tomorrow morning, they're all nuts. They got the Super G tomorrow. Come on, the slalom. There's a lot. The Winter Olympics are underway. It's the best stuff.
I was talking to my buddy. I went to the Warriors game with him the other night, and he was going out of town the next day because his daughter is in a ski competition tournament. You know, they do like club basically, and has to take her out of school. And so she does slalom, downhill. I'm like, what happens when she, bites the dust or something? I'm like, do you just come running out there all scared? He's like, well, no, she's done it. I watch her and then I see her do it. And then it's like, you wait for them to get up and then they get in, I couldn't imagine doing that on a regular basis, just going crazy down the slopes. And, some would say, why had you play water polo and the physicality and everything? I don't know. That's different. I don't know. I trust my own strength versus like the skis buckling, going down, head first on the luge or something.
It is nuts. I did see that the USA curling had a big win over Canada in the mixed doubles, and that's a big upset for them. Lindsey Vonn to medal. She's another one who's nuts.
Is that Miracle on Ice 2.0? I mean, that's to take down Canada.
Oh, the curling. Oh, in mixed doubles. I mean, Canada's like a heavy favorite in that. There's a story with the guys who are doing the ski jumping that they have been getting involved in some extracurricular activities in order to fly further. There's some extracurricular activities going on with those guys, but I am pumped. Winter Olympics are here. All right, Doug, it's time. Best bets, the Daily Double for a Friday night. Nothing like 4 a.m. curling, Steve. It's the best. Doug, I am going to go to college hoops, and I like this Northern Iowa game tonight. Obviously, Bradley's been very good in the Valley this year, but they're going into a very tough spot. Northern Iowa at home. It's kind of a line that going, what's going on here? Well, I'm going to go after it. Northern Iowa minus the 3.5 against Bradley tonight in the Valley.
Oh, I'm hoping that point guard for the Memphis Grizzlies was like quarterback of the Patriots that year that Deflategate happened, where it was either Jacoby Brissett, Jimmy Garoppolo, whoever Belichick went with, they covered. So Cam Spencer over his points prop as the starting point guard of the Memphis Grizzlies gets me home over 13.5 points. I think it's a few points too low. They're really shorthanded. No Ja Morant, obviously. And I just think he's going to eat. It's a nice road trip. Now, Portland's fine, but they want to push the pace. Portland's fine defensively, I should say. I think it's going to be an up and down game. And Memphis, I think now it's a little bit of a flat spot, but I think Spencer will be fine. Starting now with the injury to Ty Jerome. So send it in. Spencer doesn't have the same ring to it, but let's hope we still get home with the and go and finish off the gentleman's sweep.
Gentlemen sweep. We're looking forward tonight. 4 out of 5 this week. Northern Iowa minus the 3.5 at home against Bradley. Cam Spencer, send it in, Cam. Over 13.5 points for Memphis tonight. Plus 261 at Bet Rivers for the daily double this evening and the gentleman's sweep. Doug, enjoy the weekend. Great job this week. Enjoy the game on Sunday. You and everybody out there, Seahawks and the Patriots. It should be a lot of fun. And Doug, get ready when we come back on Monday. Football's over, baby. We're deep in the winter now. It's done when we come back. So get excited.
We'll be ready. We got basketball across the board. We'll be good. Hockey and the Olympics. We'll be good.
Mike Carver, Doug Kezirian, Betting Weekly Live. We will see you back Monday, 4 p.m. East, 1 p.m. Pacific. Enjoy the Super Bowl and all the other action this weekend. See you then.